Today on the show, we have Olympia. She is the representative for architects and designers in Orange County, Los Angeles County, and Santa Barbara County. So she has a big territory to cover, but she's worked in the stores. So she's going to answer a lot of great paint questions that we get through the years from people just not knowing what's the best way to pick paint, what paint to select, and so forth. Sherwin-Williams is fabulous brand, and we use that a lot in our interior design jobs, mostly. Hi, I'm Sherry Douglas, and welcome to the Faith-Led Interior Design Show. Olympia, welcome.
Hi, everybody. My name is Olympia, designer account executive. So before we begin, just kind of a little preview about myself. So I graduated with a bachelor's degree in international business and marketing at Cal Poly Pomona. After graduation, I went ahead and I worked in the stores where I managed 2 stores in Orange County. After that, now I'm here. I'm actually the account executive for designers and architects, mostly for residential. And I cover Greater LA, Orange County, and Santa Barbara. So I do have a little diversity in a lot of color management and just in the design industry as well.
Great. Yeah. So can you tell us a little bit about, I know you have some color programs with Sherwin-Williams. Mm-hmm. Maybe you can go over those with us.
Yeah, so we actually have a ton of color tools that we offer, whether it's our Color Snap app, our actual color tools, meaning our color samples are 8x11, 4x4, in a variety of colors. We also have our new peel and sticks as well that we offer in store and online. If you go to SW Color Samples, you'll find them. We also have our Sheen guide, which we actually just launched, which has made it so much easier for homeowners, designers, just in the paint industry to kind of figure out what sheen to best use on your walls. A little bit more on the app though, I call it like our online rendering program, where usually you take a snap of your wall and you just play with the colors. You kind of take, instead of buying so many samples in store, or even just trying to figure out what undertones fit your room, you can take a picture, play with the color, and once you're done, you can go ahead and order your samples online. So it just makes the process a lot more easier and more simpler for you.
Okay, so in that case, you take a picture of your room, you upload it to your site, and then you can just push on colors and it makes your room. What about the furniture in there?
It still will be on there. So that's the cool part about it, just because will be the image of what you're looking at. Let's say at a living room, you'll take the snap of your living room and you will play with all the colors and it will give you that true color. So it kind of, I'll talk about primers a little bit and why it's important, but it just shows you a better understanding what maybe your room will look like. Obviously, an online image might vary from the actual reality of the room, but it just puts you in a better spot because you'll know a little bit more than just going to the store and just looking at a ton of colors and not knowing what those colors will look like on your wall. And another cool part about the actual app is like sometimes you have rugs, so you have textiles that you want to match as well. You could take a picture of the actual rug or a pillowcase, and it'll give you a variety of complementary colors that you can actually select from the lighter side to the darker side as well. So it'll help you a little bit more.
On the same program, or is that a different program for the rug?
It's the same app, and you can access the app from the laptop and from the iPad as well.
And the app name is?
Color Snap app.
Color Snap app. Okay.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, that is such a good tool to use. One thing we want to be sure and let people know is that you have to try these colors in your home before you actually paint the whole room. That's like, paint 101. And Olympia mentioned those peel and stick samples. I love those. And I usually get 3 or 4 of the same color to put them on different walls so that, you can see them in different lights, because each wall has a different light on it. So be sure and do the sampling before. And I recommend the peel and stick because they can just be even moved, or they're just easy, and they're big. They're kind of like a sheet of paper size, right?
Yeah.
If you haven't subscribed yet, please hit the subscribe button and bell so you are notified next time a new video is uploaded.
And then another, just to add on to what you just said, also, it's important to look at the color during the day,
Yep.
Afternoon, and night because of the lighting. So that's another cool thing, that you can just peel off the actual paint sample and you just move it around.
Right. That's great. Okay, and you mentioned Sheens. Maybe you can speak more about the Sheens and how to, a person picking paint would determine which one they would maybe want to use.
Yes. So Sheen. So I know a lot of customers are not sure what sheen is. So sheen is the amount of light reflected on the wall, independent from the actual colors. What I'm trying to say is that it's important to understand why it's important, because when selecting a color, it can change from surface to surface. So generally, the paint color in a glossy finish will look darker and more saturated in a surf. For example, a dark paint color in a glossy finish might appear lighter versus a dark color in a matte finish might seem darker. So it varies from surface to surface. So meaning, let's say a glossy cabinet might be different from the actual surface of the actual wall. So that's why sheen is important, because we have a variety of sheens, starting from flat, matte to eggshell satin, from semi-gloss to gloss, and all these sheens can be different from a different competitor. So that's another thing that why it's so important, is to understand that each sheen, an eggshell might be different from, another paint store versus ours. So it's important to understand all of that because of the process, especially if you're working with a contractor. It's very, very important to understand what sheen, what color, and from what paint store you're getting it from, just to have that true results that you're actually expecting. And one more thing, I know historically, the shinier the surface it is, the more washable it is. But now, due to technology, we do have a washable matte and flat. So it'll give you the best results.
Yes. And what's that called? The washable matte and flat? Or is it two different names?
No. So our washable flat, we have our two top premium products, which is Duration and Emerald, and it offers the washable matte and flat, which just gives you a better cleanability. And this is when I say cleanability, all you have to do is use soap and water and you'll clean the surfaces. And I understand that sometimes the flatter the surface is, the more friction there is. So it'll be harder to wipe off, but it's still possible to wipe off the stains and all of those imperfections on the wall as well.
Wow. Yeah. I love that. I love the matte finishes myself. So that's really huge, because a lot of times people really are thinking, well, maybe I should use eggshell or something else to be more washable, but that kind of solves that problem. Like even in kitchens that are open, or we still, that kind of thing, you can use the flat and not get a sheen. But is the high gloss more popular now? I mean, it feels that way as I'm looking at things, but what are you seeing in your company stats?
The main thing, so traditionally, semi-gloss will always be the most popular for trims, doors, cabinets, just because it's been a tradition. You talk to anybody, or even a homeowner, contractor, they'll give you kind of an idea that semi-gloss is for trim stores, and you have the walls, eggshell. But due to a lot of like moderation, you have, well, it depends on generations too. You have customers that are more leaning towards flat matte because they like the whole like minimalistic look. They don't want no lighting to reflect on anything. But then you have other generations that are more into, let's say right now I see a lot of like 60 trends that they want the glossy kind of look on the cabinet, or they want something more to pop up versus something that's just very minimal. So I've seen a lot of trends, especially on my end, on our color forecasting, that I see this past year was more on the minimalistic kind of terra kind of feeling, more of like earthy tones. And now I'm seeing more leaning towards like Barbie pink, or, bright reds, so bright blues. So you just are seeing a lot of change due to, it has a lot to do with obviously fashion, economy, what people are feeling at the moment. But I would say right now, the sheen, it depends on the person. But I do see the traditional ways is flat, satin, eggshell, or semi-gloss to be the ones.
It's kind of always been that way, I think, really. But sometimes you see it flash off into some other, way to, but I think that classic way, like you're talking in the traditional classic way, is really the norm, unless you have a certain project that you're working something different with. And then how about priming your walls?
Yes. So why does even primer exist? The main reason why primer exists is obviously to cover stains. Let's say you're painting a very dark color wall and you're trying to switch it to a lighter color. Prime, meaning the reason why is because it'll just make the process a lot more easier. But there is also other reasons why we prime a brand new drywall. You might need to seal it. So we have primer and sealer. You might want to cover, let's say, a fire stain. So all of those little things, the reason why it's so important to prime is because you want a coat to kind of just give you the best result of the color. So we call it true color when you actually paint the wall, whatever color you select. So it'll just give you the better results. So same thing when you use nail polish, you want to have that level surface where you're not a stain or not an imperfection will stand out. You just want to make sure that everything's the same, just for the true color to be the same. So it's more of like a result beautified way to kind of give you the true color of the wall. But obviously we have primers that are because of metal. You want that extreme bond, you want that adhesion to add it to the actual metal. You want to cover even deeper stains. It depends on what the customer needs are. That's the reason why primers are important. And never skip the primer step. Never skip it. Unless you're painting over a white wall. That's probably the exception. But other than that, if it's brand new drywall, prime. If it's a dark color, prime, because it will not give you the same color that you selected.
Right. That's a really good point, because you might be disappointed with the color if you don't get it primed too. Yeah, that's a great advice. Absolutely. So if you're priming, I'm just asking for clarification. Do you still need 2 coats of paint, or is it prime plus 1 coat of paint?
Usually, so the right step is 2 coats. The only reason is because of the same thing. The color, especially if it's a darker color, due to the way that it's formulated, you will need to do 2 coats, because the base of the product will be more transparent than, let's say, a white base. So you can get away with 1 coat of white or like a lighter color versus a darker color. But the right way to always do it is 2 coats, depending on obviously the surface. But yes, 2 coats is the right way to do it.
Okay, that's
and will give you the best results.
Okay. And then do you have warranties on your paints?
We do. So most of our paints will be lifetime warranty, especially our premium products. We do have an exception of some of our contractor grade products that are more on the 10-year warranty, but that's due to contractor paint is just different than more premium products, just because the surface is always getting repainted versus, a brand new home that you want to go ahead and paint, and you're most likely going to have that color or that paint on the wall for years, so it just is. So our premium products do have a lifetime warranty, and this is all depending on the maintenance too. Obviously you have to maintain it, you have to make sure you prep it right, you use the right primer, the painter is cleaning the wall. So it really depends on the process too, because it'll give you a better result if the process is done right versus, cutting corners.
Right.
Yeah, but we do have a warranty, and the warranty includes like blistering, bubbling, and all that. It could be a variety of reasons why, the paint might be defected, or even the application might have been wrong. So we do offer that warranty, and obviously it'll go through Sherwin-Williams, obviously. Yeah.
Of
And they'll
course, yeah,
test the product
to test and see why and so forth.
why
But
it's
at least there's
failing.
something there as a guarantee if there's a problem from your side. And
Yeah.
then, yeah, if it's from the homeowner side, then that's a different thing, of course.
Yeah.
But they'll help you determine that. Yeah.
Yeah. And if you go to any store, I mean, coming from the actual stores, if you let the person know, the manager know, the assistant manager know, whoever's there, they'll listen and they'll guide you. They'll tell you, hey, maybe you used the wrong brush. Maybe you need this primer. Maybe, so it'll be a conversation where the customer will leave the store more knowledgeable and will help with the next process, or, will just make the whole process easier and just more comforting for the person that goes in, worried, because, pain is such it is a difficult conversation because we don't really learn until we're actually in that position. So you'll leave the store more relieved. And I think that's really good to know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, pain is complicated. I mean, it is not an easy subject, and it has so much to do with light and your room and that's why we're really telling people to test it in your lighting, in your room. You mentioned a little bit about trends. Can you speak maybe a little bit more about trends? And trends, I think would be, if you have more fun stuff on that, that's always interesting.
Yeah. So I did mention that we have our color mix every year. We forecast colors. We take, data and just create our own color palette, and it changes every year. This year, I was mentioning that it was called Terra, which is very connected to Earth, to nature, rocks, flowers, just nature in general, and how it's slowly changing to other trends that are complete opposite. In this case, I brought up Barbie pink, or blue for more calming, or darker colors that are more reserved. So it's just those trends are constantly changing depending on our needs and how our behavior is changing, and just everything in general. But this year mainly it was all about nature. I mean, you kind of see, personally me, I have plants in my home due to, I want to feel that nature feel, especially after the past years that have been very difficult. We kind of were in touch more with wanting to feel the nature, but in home. So it's just changing now that you see the trends changing more towards standing out because we're coming outside, or we're wanting to be more outside or expose ourselves more. It's interesting to see. I mean, obviously we have our top colors, our trim colors, our whites, like pure white, extra white, alabaster, that is being still used a lot commonly. But we do have our pop-up colors that are coming back as well. Like I said, we have our smoky blue, we have our caviar colors, we have our, I think it's called our stop red, that's just so bright red. So it varies to have those trends. But we do have our traditional top 50 colors that are safe colors and are still trending, just because they're more on the safer side. But it's always fun to kind of change up a little bit, even an accent color, and just make it bright blue, or bright pink. So it's nice.
Yeah. I noticed on the top 50 that agreeable gray is your number one color. And I think that one is used so much because it can almost go warm or cool,
Yeah, it's very flexible.
Yes, it's
very flexible color. And I see it a lot still in new residential, apartments. Is just because it gives you that flexibility. I mean, you have, customers with all kinds of personalities coming into these homes, and they just want to give you that flexibility of you having a very stable color, and then you can go ahead and change it. So those would be our popular colors. Accessible, you have repose gray, accessible beige, even if you want more on the warmer side. So just all of those colors, even whites, I mean, with a slight undertone, have become very, very popular, like Drift the Mist, City Loft.
Yes.
Yeah.
We had the pure white, alabaster, Dover white, snowbound, and antique white as the top 5 whites. Well, I really appreciate all your information. It's been really informative, and I will be in touch for using your products because I love them. And, you've been just wonderful. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you for having me.
You're welcome. If you're struggling to design or improve the interior of your home that mirrors your amazing self and within your budget, make sure to reach out. Email me at sherry@dcdouglasinteriors.com. Be sure to like this video if you enjoyed it, and remember to hit the subscribe button. Thank you for watching. Blessings until next time.